Alright, I have an iPad Air 2 here with what looks like spotlights on the left side of the LCD. Alright, looks like looks like a backlight issue. I mean, the backlight fully illuminates, but the left side looks like it's spotlights basically. Okay, I don't know how else to describe it, but anyways, there's no schematics out there for the iPad Air 2. ZXW does have a trace diagram of ZXW of the iPad Air 2, but it doesn't have the components listed or anything like that. It doesn't show you the components that are attached. So that's all we really have to go on. Okay. So what I did was I just opened this puppy up, just removed the shield on it, and it just kind of took a gander of what looks like the backlight system. And just based on this, I can tell that looks like there's two backlights. Two backlight systems, this one right here and then this one right here. So I check this diode, one way reads 0.16 volts, the other way reads OL. Okay, so I know that these diodes are fine. Alright, so let's go to ZXW tools. Okay, so here's the coil for the backlight system on one side, here's the coil for the other side. Okay, and based on the systems of the iPhone 6 Plus and the 6S Plus, they both have two backlight systems. I can tell that this side right here is probably going to be VCC main, probably. All right, so that's the input voltage. Goes across this goes across this coil here. Goes across the coil, goes to the diode. Okay, so that's generally how it works. It goes from power input coil diode. All right. So diode 1 is here, and then diode other side of the diode is here. So I'm just going to assume that the input power is correct. I'm going to assume the coil is fine, and I'm going to assume that the diode is fine because I checked those and the coil they don't look burnt to me. All right. So on the other side of this diode here, they're connected to 3 or 4 capacitors. Okay, and you can kind of see by the red dots. Now, if you look near the connector, there's also a red dot there. So I'm going to assume that that's probably the input to that's the power source for the backlight on the actual LCD. Alright, so what that's generally attached to is a filter. So let's zoom in here. Okay, so let's move this over down a little bit. And let's zoom in on ZXW tools. Okay. Alright, so there's your dot right here. Let's look at it under a microscope and find out where that is. Okay, so that would be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it is this one right here. Alright, so that's one. That's usually a filter. Alright, that is usually a filter right here. It looks like a filter because it's black. These are caps. This is probably a filter or resistor, but probably a capacitor, or probably a filter, inductor. These are probably resistors right here. Okay, these are smaller, and that's just kind of like a general theme of the iPhones and iPads. Okay, these bigger ones are generally filters. All right, so let's go back and let's look at the other. Let's look for the other filter now. Okay. Okay, so diode input, and then the diode caps. So let's see what this looks like on this side. Okay, so this is going to be the other filter over here. Okay, so looking at it, we are looking at this one right here. Okay, not sure if you guys can see it or not, but these are the two filters. They connect to these two pins. I think on this one, and then these two pins right here on this one. Okay, now let's dig in a little bit deeper. Okay, I mean let's look at this right here. So there's your filter right there that's busted, and you know what? Let's put a multimeter on this puppy and let's see if there's continuity. And there's no continuity here, and there's no continuity here. And it looks like they're both busted. Really, you know, I don't even know if they are. See it? There's like a bead of solder right in the middle of that. But the thing is this, let's see. Yep. Okay, so I'm assuming these are busted, alright? These are bad. and I'm just gonna replace them. So what filters do you use, right? I don't even know. Since there's no schematics for it, I'm gonna assume that they're probably gonna use the 6S Plus filter. So basically it's gonna be they're all the same for the most part. It's just the rating is 35 volts or 25 volts. Okay, and when in doubt, you go with the higher voltage. When in doubt, all right? Just because you're really not supposed to use a lower voltage cap on a higher rated voltage system, all right? But you can use a higher voltage capacitor on a lower voltage system, all right? So same with inductors. Alright, so let's go, and this is going to be an inductor, not a capacitor. So I'm going kind of scattered here because I'm really not sure what I'm going to do right here. Okay, so this is going to be a 240 ohm 0201 package, 350 milliampere, 35 volt. Alright, so is that right? Actually, it's not even rated for. I'm sorry. I think the difference is 350 milliamperes versus 200 something milliamperes. So I'm gonna go with the 350 milliampere one, since there are two backlight systems. I'm not really even making sense right now, but I'm gonna use the backlight filter for the 6S. That's what I'm gonna do. 6S, 6S Plus. They're both the same. Alright, let's get rid of these puppies first, and then we shall go from there. I'm not really sure how these things blew, to be honest with you. But so I'm going to put a little bit of (6337) on here. Make it a little bit easier to flow this puppy, alright? Alright, so there we go. Those are pretty much tinned pretty good. Now let's get my filters back. And I'm going to assume they're probably the same filters as 6S, because I think that's when the iPad Air 2 came out. Anyways, so I don't think it's really going to hurt. These are my silly JBC tweezers, by the way. They're awesome. Never going to go back to Hako after this. Hako. Ever. Oh, it looks like that's bridged right now. I want to make sure that's not bridged. That's for sure. I'll check it later with my multimeter. Alright, so those are nice and shiny now. Let me just kind of Alright, those are pretty good. So let's clean this up a little bit. Make sure there's continuity across it. And make sure they're not bridged. And let's test it. A little tweezers in, okay. Just want to make sure that I'm not bridging anything or that I'm not supposed to. Alright, that's fine. Alright, so let's check for continuity now. Make sure that we're good to go here. Alright, we are good to go. So let's see if this works, alright? I need to change this. Alright, let me get my screen here. And we will go at it. I really don't have room for this on my workbench. Alright, there you go. And this is my test LCD, so it's really hard to see, but you can't really, there's no more like, there were spotlights over here earlier. So anyway, so that's the problem. Looks like it was just a backlight filter. Alright, I'm going to assume this is good to go. That's it, really. See it? No more. Everything is good. There's no more crap on the ends of this. Alright, so that's how you fix the spotlights. Change the backlight filters on the iPad Air 2.